warm welcome. Today I'll guide you through a slow class with a Sincerity Prayer as the focus. Such a beautiful prayer that I love to use both in my regular fitness yoga classes and then also in a Christian setting. So unroll your mat and join me. As often you find a comfortable seat. Maybe let your palms face up as the hand rests on the knees or the thighs. Tall spine. And take a moment to settle in with whatever posture or movement you need to be able to sit. And close your eyes. And surrender to the somewhat darkness behind the closed eyelids. Remembering that you are loved, that through God's grace, God is smiling to you right now. Maybe a smile back, even though you might not feel rejoiceful. Calm your breath. And try to accept whatever you are feeling or thinking right now on the mat. Avoid judging yourself, condemning yourself. There is no right or wrong emotion or feeling right now. Because you are sitting on the grace mat. On God's grace and God's love. No matter where you're at in your mind and your heart. And I'll read this Sincerity Prayer to you twice. So listen, maybe with your thinking mind first. God, grant me the sincerity to accept the things I cannot change. Courage to change the things I can. And the wisdom to know the difference. And try then to listen with your heart, all your emotions. What are they telling you as I read the prayer again? God, grant me the sincerity to accept the things I cannot change. Courage to change the things I can. And the wisdom to know the difference. Such a powerful prayer. Such a deep prayer. Now grab your knees if you're seated somewhat simple. If you're in hero pose, you might just grab the floor and move your spine back, chin towards your chest. And kind of rocking forth and back. This is easier in a simple seated pose. Massaging your buttocks. Getting a stretch between the shoulder blades. Moving back to center, let go of your knees and take your hands behind you. Lift up your chest, lift up your head, your nose. Sit here, getting a stretch in front of your chest and your pecs. And again, you can sway from side to side. Don't worry about doing this the right way or the perfect way. Grant yourself the sincerity just to move. Then coming back to center, let your right hand reach down the floor, left arm over your head, and take this hand behind your head. Try to push your head into your hand. And then lifting up, gaze towards heaven. And gaze down like your hand is able to push your hand down, looking underneath your armpit or wherever. And again, open up. Look towards the sky and move back. You feel this in your left side body, probably. Both sitting bones still on the mat. And you're welcome to use a block underneath your right hand if that's helpful. And one last time. And release. Shake any tightness out. Move to the side. Use the block again if that's helpful. Hand behind your head. Pull in to engage your throat and your neck a little bit. Open up. Let your head win the battle with your hand. And then let your hand win the battle. Look down. Maybe use your breath here. Inhale. You should open up. Exhaling as you draw your head down. And last time, looking down. And up. Letting go. Time to get some movement into our legs. So finding down dog. Hip up and back. Spreading out your fingers and then walk your feet, pedal your feet. Notice how your shoulders react to this kind of funny stance. And notice that you're not in plank pose. You're kind of in a Toblerone, if you know that chocolate. That kind of a shape, a triangle, even triangle. You can bend your knees. Try to make your spine straight. So maybe you want to go for a little bit of an arch in your back to make sure that you have a tall spine and those knees can be bended. And walk your feet to the top end of the mat. And go for a somewhat wide distance. So my feet are still on the mat, but I'm with my pinky toe to the outer edge of the mat, folding forward, maybe bending the knees. Shake your head like you're saying yes and no. Maybe you sway a little bit from side to side here. So what are the things that you need sincerity to accept? What are the things that you cannot change?
but you're struggling like you could change it or you could control it. The first step to healing, the first step to more acceptance in a way of life is actually being aware of your thoughts and your feelings. So that's why I'm asking. Sit down still. Your feet somewhat distant, so find a wide stance chair. Arms reaching up. And if you feel like it today, you can always go lower. Now these postures are some of the things that you have the courage to change if you want. So you can go higher, you can go lower, whatever works for you today. Stacking the knee joint there just directly over your toes. And then rise up. Grasp the hands behind your head, elbows out, and then go for a small back bend. Soften your knees, open up your chest. Try to engage your core like you're cinching in your ribs a little bit here in front, just to notice how it feels in the support of your tummy as you lean back. And come forward. Hands down by your side. And then find what I will find regular mountain pose, so somewhat hip width distance in between the feet. And hug in your right knee. So you want to stand firmly on your left foot there as much as you can. Your gaze or your drishti, as we call it in yoga sometimes, somewhere where it's not moving on the ground or wherever it makes sense. And then try to bend the knees 90 degrees and let the knee be aligned with the hip. Take your arms out to the side and stay here for a few breaths. Notice your left side. Notice your hip. Try to pull in your hip. Stand as tall as you can here. And then gently let your right foot go back. Lower it down on the floor, hands down on the floor. Maybe your fingertips, maybe you use blocks underneath both hands, whatever works for you. But trying to bend the front knee somewhat 90 degrees. We're going to go for a twist. So right hand stays down, left foot on the floor, but left arm reaches up. Take your belly towards the inner thigh without gluing it in. And let's try to do a little bit of playful movements here. Again, you decide, you take the courage to change or avoid doing this if you like. So take this arm that is up over your head further back, opening up. Maybe feel something in your shoulder girdle. And then drawing the hands down almost underneath your bended leg here. Drawing it down, looking down so the shoulders are aligned with the floor. And then we want to align the shoulders, stacking the shoulders here as we lift the arms up, or the arm up. So go for that. Small movements a few times. Notice your front foot firmly on the mat, really pushing into the mat. Now the thigh kind of burning as you keep your balance. Try to stabilize yourself here. One last time. Take the arms up overhead and draw to the front, reaching down. Turn the back foot around. Warrior two, so somewhat heels aligned, heel to arch, whatever works for you. Arms aligned, look to the front end of the mat, warrior two.
Relax your shoulders. Calm your breath. Notice how your thighs react to this kind of weird posture if you're not used to it. And then take the back hand, reach it overhead. You're like a wave coming over, framing the front foot, lifting the back heel off. Step the foot back, down dog. Again, checking in with your spine, elongated, pushing your spine so it feels away from your hands. Staying here or taking a Vinyasa flow if you like that. If you do a Vinyasa flow, you come to your plank. Move your shoulders in front of your fingers, come out on your tippy toes, the lower down on knees or toes. Lifting through the sternum, cobra or your up dog, and wave yourself back into down dog. Walk your feet to the top end of the mat. Still that hip width distance, and rise up. Mountain pose. And if you feel like you're in lack of courage of any kind, things that you feel like, yeah, I want to change that, I want to do that, I want to dare to do that, then maybe take your hands out to the side or up, wherever it feels, and ask, God, help me to have the courage to change whatever it is. If you're ready, take your hands down. Engage your right leg, making sure this hip doesn't move out, but you're kind of pushing in here. And then your left leg up, doing the opposite side now. So hugging it in for the first few moments. Again, steady gaze somewhere in front of you, tall spine, shoulders back. And maybe you chuck your chin a little bit in, not to look forward as we tend to do on the screen, but really elongating through also the neck. And then let go of the knee. Align the knee with the hip. 90-degree angle in the knee joint if you can. And take your arms out to the side or even behind your head if you're up for a little of a change. Remember to breathe. And then take your hands out. Release this left leg and move it back, reaching down the floor somewhere. Hands down the mat, and maybe you scooch that front foot a little bit further to the front, bending the front knee. Try to engage the back thigh so you don't hyperextend the back leg. Just feel how bending it does something, how stretching it almost the whole way does something. And then you go for a twist. So this time, right hand up towards the sky. So what happens here is that our hip stays somewhat where we have placed it, but we twist and turn the top of our shoulders here, which means the top of the spine, into this twist. Make sure you use blocks underneath the hands, or I could use my fist to kind of release tension from my wrist. And then let's do that movement again, almost like
threading the needle this way underneath, reaching up again. And use your breath if you prefer. Line the shoulders with the floor. And stack them up here. Last time. Warrior two, so you pivot the back foot around. Reaching up, taking this front hip towards the front knee, bending and lining the hip over the ankle. Take your arms out. Tuck the tailbone in, so you feel like you have a glass wall on the buttocks here as well on the front. You'll be standing completely tall. Focus your gaze on the middle finger. And try to push both feet firmly down into the mat. This is called a warrior pose, and you can think a lot about warriors, whatever, but what I'm thinking right now is courage, okay? So maybe this posture with an open chest and gaze over the finger can be a prayer of courage to change what we need to change. So what we do with our bodies will also affect our thought patterns a little bit. So if we do a posture of courage, it can actually give us a sensation of courage as well, or feeling of courage. All right, windmill the back arm around, finding down dog in one way or another. You could do Vinyasa again or stay in down dog. If you're up for Vinyasa, move to your plank. Slowly lower down, take your elbows in, lifting cobra or up dog, and make your way down to down dog. Then take your knees down on the floor, child's pose. So your forehead is reaching the mat if it's possible, or if not, you can stack your hands and put your forehead on your hands. And God, give us the wisdom to know the difference between the things that we can change and the things we can't. The things out of our control, out of our reach. I believe there's a lot of peace found in finding that balance between courage and acceptance of the things we can't change. Now, still in child's pose, if you have any knee issues, you might just come down on your belly and take your hands to the front as we do here. But take your hands as far to the front as you can. And maybe, depending on the condition of your shoulders, you can cross your hands or just stack the hands. I kind of wiggle my fingers further to the front to get a stretch on your shoulder, almost like puppy pose. Move your hands back, coming up on your knees. We're going to do a back bend. Again, if you have knee issues, just do one a back bend, standing on your feet instead of on your knees. It's going to be versions of camel pose, so tuck your toes under, at least if you're not used to it. Support the back with your hands. I love having my fingers pointing up because it gives me a stretch on the soft part of the arm there and on hairy side. Leaning back, aligning the hip with the knees. And stay here or go for the full camel if you feel ready for it or warm for it. And if you're just halfway there, stay there. If you're comfortable, stay for a few moments more. If you're ready to come out of it, belly in, come into standing. Hands down, just on the floor. If you have the mat curled like I have, and do a cat pose. And let go. Pigeon pose, stretching our glutes and hip. So you can do it from down dog or just take it from all fours. Right hand to the right foot, leg to the front. Point the toes. And then if you want to go for a deeper stretch, you can wiggle that back knee further back instead of lifting this front leg up. Okay, we don't want to lift and put some more pressure on the knee joint. So be mindful in this one. Stay here. If you want another version, you can come on your back and do almost this by pulling your left leg in as your right knee is out to the side. So reversed pigeon pose. If you are struggling with things right now, if this prayer just hit home, maybe you take this prayer, put it up somewhere, or if you can learn it by heart, whenever things pop up in your mind and you feel defeated or, just not in a good place, maybe pray this prayer. Let God's love and God's peace melt your heart and change what needs to be changed. Not requiring miracles, but accepting a step-by-step movements towards healing, towards peace. Kind of moving to the other side, so slowly come up on your hands. I take the back knee a little bit closer to the front knee to help myself not put any pressure on this right leg that was bent in the front. Opposite side, if you're laying on your back, you just switch sides. No big movements coming forth and back. Again, finding this posture. Notice your knee is okay. And you feel like having your hands on a ball here, like a prayer pose or whatever, welcome to do that. One big breath. And from here you can make your way out to the side. If you're on your back, just stay on your back, because we're all gonna meet on our backs. So come back, bending your knees, feet on the floor. And actually you can take your feet mat with distance, just as we did in the beginning, and a bit away from the hip. And then windshield your legs here. You're welcome to stay in one side that feels particularly good for a moment. If you stay in one side, you might want to even things out by moving to the other side. And then the option of resting. So stretch out your legs. Find your pillows, maybe underneath the knee joint, maybe behind your head, behind your shoulder blades, whatever helps you relax. And also, if you want to stay here longer than I do, you are welcome to make yourself as comfortable as you can. And remember, you also deserve to relax. All right? Maybe some of the things that you can change is actually relaxing more. So actually, I feel that kind of inspiration, godly inspiration, that maybe some of you actually need to hear this. That what you can change the most is relaxing more. And that will give you the courage and the sincerity to accept things. So let go and let God. Relax your head, your shoulders, hip. Let your mouth open a little bit and let your tongue fall down from the roof of the mouth. And be open to the wisdom from God pouring into your heart. Like hot water on ice, melting the ice, melting maybe pride, confusion, tiredness. So please stay down on the mat as I pray this prayer over you. So stay down on your mat in resting pose. May God grant you the sincerity to accept the things that you cannot change. May God fill your heart with courage to change the things that you can. And may God bless you with the wisdom to know the difference between the two. Please stay longer on the mat and meditate on this, or just rest, as I said before. When you're ready to sit up, make sure you do it slowly. All right, taking your time. From my heart to yours, thank you so much. Blessings on your path, blessings on your relations as well.